Welcome, welcome, welcome. Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus for October 1st, 2025. The first show of October. Happy October, happy ESOPtober for all of you who work at ESOPs like we do. We're powered by who, Jack?
Fairway.
Fairway Food Stores. Go there. This is the time of year when you switch from going to Fairway to get your lunch meat and your picnic equipment, and you instead you're getting some warm stuff, some soup. Maybe stack up the soup. There's nothing like that first real cold day, and popping on some like wintry soup.
We are in soup season. That is nice.
It is. I get a little obsessive during lunch for soup season because there are some restaurants around here that they pull the soup out. And what's your go-to soup, Jack?
I'm not gonna lie. I like either a good tomato because I pair it with a grilled cheese, or I will do. I guess chili doesn't count as a soup, but I do love a good chili.
Yeah, I like chili too.
But then otherwise, I mean, chicken noodle's good. That's
The
always
classic,
a
right?
go-to. But I like tomato soup. Tomato soup's good. I'm boring.
Tomato guy. Yeah, I think I'm more a chicken noodle guy. I also like chicken tortilla soup.
Oh yes, good shout. Chicken tortilla soup is very good.
Yeah. So I'll be doing a lot of soups for lunch these days, which is good because I said this so many episodes ago, but they told me I have high cholesterol, so I pretty much been eating toast and apples for the last 4 months. So much so that I used to eat all of, like a bunch of fast food, and now if I eat fast food, I feel sick afterwards. That's how long I've been eating toast and apples. So I guess that's what your body's supposed to do, is reject the greasy foods. It's a weird feeling.
Right.
We're gonna talk a little football, a little volleyball, a little tennis, and a little cross country, as we have been all fall. Before we talk about the games, obviously we had some horrible news this weekend. Everyone pretty much watching this probably knows that Washington senior Carson Ryan was lost in a tragic accident. It was a surreal text for me to get because I had just covered Washington on Friday night. And he played in that game, obviously, in Mount Pleasant. So obviously our thoughts and our hearts are with the Washington community. I've been super impressed with, and I know the Washington community has been thankful for the other communities around here that have done, they did the Black and Orange Day. I saw that a place in MP that he liked to go to switched they have the name of the day. They did a thing for him, the Carson name of the day. So I don't know. It was a tough situation for us, obviously, because we know him from sports, a lot of sports. When he was younger, he was a cross country kid. He's always been a track kid, and then he's been on the football team this year. I was at Mid Prairie game one in Mid Prairie. Washington Mid Prairie. He made two. He basically had a season's worth of special teams big plays in about 5 minutes because he had a fumble recovery, a pop-up ball that he ran and grabbed, and then he had a that was on kickoff. Then he had a kick return touchdown, and so it was. So I don't know. It was I don't know. It's hard to find the words. It's a situation that Jack, you knew we've had a couple of these before. I've been here for 10 years, so every once in a while, something tragic happens. So, just want to say where thoughts are with Washington. I'm glad that everyone has kind of given them the space to heal. It sounds like homecoming stuff is they postponed the Sunday stuff, but they will be having the game Friday and all that. So I know it's a tough time pretty much for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with what you said. I mean, I live in Washington, and the support has just been unbelievable. I mean, I went to the vigil to cover it for the paper, and I think they said they gave people maybe 3 hours notice. It was like a 6 p.m. vigil, and they put a post out there at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and it felt like the whole town was there. I mean, the entire home bleachers were packed full of people, and I know the GoFundMe has raised a ton of money that's been out there for him and his family, and so that's been super wonderful to see. So yeah, it's obviously a super sad situation. But it is has been great to see all the support. Like you said, I saw pretty much every school that we cover post something on Facebook, do some sort of day, to honor. I was at cross country yesterday. We're going to talk about it. Waco, their team was wearing orange headbands and wristbands in support. And I asked one runner about it, and he was like, "Yeah, he was really close with a lot of people at that school and too." So, yeah, it's a very, very sad and tragic situation, but it has been very admirable to see the community and how it's come together to try and heal through it. So, we just, hope to keep doing that. And I'm glad we at the Union have been able to tell a little bit of his story. I just hope that the support can continue to be strong, because it definitely has been so far. And yeah, again, like Andy said, our condolences are with him and his family and friends at this time.
For sure. And I know it'll be a little weird to, the transition when something like that happens back to the normal competitiveness of the football season and stuff like that. Fairfield and Washington is this Friday, which is one of the biggest nights of our entire year. And I know it's kind of a weird mix of emotions, but yeah. He was a state track competitor, really good runner and football and stuff. And so it's just it was a crazy thing to see and a really sad event. But we're going to try and talk a little. So it's going to be weird for me to talk about the Mount Pleasant Washington game. In hindsight, it was weird for me to do the story afterwards because it happened so soon afterwards. But I'm just going to talk a little X's and O's about the game on Friday. We set it up last week where Washington, Mount Pleasant, one of our big rivalries, obviously one of the biggest in Southeast Iowa. Washington had beaten Mount Pleasant for I have the amount of days in the story, but since 2000, Mount Pleasant beat Washington in 2008 in football. 2009, Washington won, and then they had a few years where the state redistricted, and it kind of messed up the rivalry, so they didn't play a couple years. And then every year from 2012 until Friday night, Washington had that holdover in Mount Pleasant. And for the first time since 2008, a Mount Pleasant victory over Washington, 44-20. That score looks a lot worse than it was. It was exactly basically what I'd expected, with the kind of grounded out physical battle, besides a handful of plays, big plays that went Mount Pleasant's way. So it was Washington actually scored first. Washington led 7-0 and 14-7, both on Cale Williams touchdown runs. A few minutes left in the second quarter. Stuff started to kind of flip Mount Pleasant. Stuff started to flip Mount Pleasant's way. Don't worry, I got.
He's very excited. That's about the right when the flip happened.
Yeah, I saw him getting ready. Someone's slowly walking outside, and he's like, "Yes, here we go." Stuff started to flip Mount Pleasant's way. Griffin Jones had a kick return touchdown that was on a squib kick. He scooped it at the 25, and by the way, you can watch the entire replay on Mount Pleasant Live. And he spun away from a couple of demon tacklers and just kind of dashed towards the middle, then cut back left and brought one back 75 yards for a touchdown, which tied it. And then, Washington had short time to try and go get the lead right before halftime. And Asa Rose picked one off inside the 30. And so then Mount Pleasant had a short field again, scored. Actually, it was Jones again who scored. That made it 20-14 because they messed up the extra point. But so what was a 7-point lead for Washington was a 6-point lead for Mount Pleasant very shortly after. And then the second half, Mount Pleasant was able to get a field goal, which put them up 2 possessions. And for the whole second half, that meant that Washington was trying to get back into a situation where they could be down one possession with the ball. So they, Kale scored again to cut the lead to 3. So at one point, Mount Pleasant was only up 23-20, but they went right down. Oh, FedEx is here. They went right down and scored again. I see the FedEx truck pulling up. Somebody's got a package. I can tell you what, Jack. I'll take a short break from the X's and O's while this FedEx guy walks to my door. But your choice, obviously. But let's say you get married one day. Sometimes you have a wife that does a little online shopping night. And so you're just sitting at home. All of a sudden, a plane from FedEx lands on your yard because there's so much stuff coming to your front porch.
Plane.
But actually, that looks like the neighbors. That's not even ours. Neighbors. I got it. All right, back to the Mount Pleasant Washington game. While Opie goes crazy, I might have to go upstairs for a little bit. You know what? I'm gonna walk and talk. Because this FedEx guy is about to go one-on-one with the great one. Once he gets to this porch, watch this little tour of my house. Little tour. This is the kind of stuff you don't get in other shows, No, you're not watching First Take.
Only a one of one.
You're not watching First Take and somebody gets up and has to go into a toddler's bedroom to do a football report. But that's what you get with Southeast Iowa Prep Sports Plus. Anyway, where was I at, Jack? Was I at 23-20?
Yes, right when it was flipping to Mount Pleasant.
So Mount Pleasant was up 23-20, and it was a situation where Washington had to get a stop to get the ball back. Mount Pleasant grounded it out, scored. Just the way that the Panthers are in a good situation right now where they have a big offensive line, and then they have like 4 or 5 bigger kids that they hand the ball off to. And so they just, 3-4 yards at a time, went downfield, scored, and then 30-20. Actually, they scored, and then they got a surprise onside kick, which they didn't score off of, but that at least ate some of the clock. So now Washington's chasing 10 points, gets the ball back, and then 30-20, Brody Clark picks off a pass at the 25-yard line and takes it to the end zone for what proved to kind of be the play that ended all suspense on who was going to win. Mount Pleasant scored another time later on, but so a big win for the Panthers. That was a district opening win for Mount Pleasant. Statistically, it's funny because Mount Pleasant's now 4-1. And when I go to do the stories and I look at the statistics, there are no eye-popping stats because they do it with defense and they spread the ball around so much that they score 44 points and you're like, well, who had the big game? And nobody rushed for over 100 yards and nobody nobody received for over 100 yards. Big win for MP. A loss for Washington, but they can bounce right back if they can win this week or next. And it was a week. You know what? I've been here for 10 years, and I've covered Mount Pleasant, Washington for probably 80% of the games that have happened since I've moved into the area. And so after all those times watching Washington beat Mount Pleasant, it was finally the Panthers' turn to celebrate.
Yeah, it's exciting for Mount Pleasant. I mean, off to a 4-1 start. I mean, this team is proving like they could maybe be the real deal. I mean, that puts them kind of in the driver's seat. Like the margins are so kind of thin and only a 6-man district. And with their overall record, like that puts them kind of in the driver's seat to maybe snag a second playoff spot. Like, they're only one game off Solon technically, as good as Solon is. So. Yeah, I mean, they've got some momentum for sure.
Now, even so, Mount Pleasant's schedule also kind of works out well. They play Fort Madison, which has been tough, which maybe would be a good recovery game to where Fort Madison is struggling. And so if they can go out and get a win this Friday, they'd play Keokuk and then they would have the big Solon game. But we said that when I'm trying to figure out a good way to say here, we said that when Mount Pleasant, Fairfield, Washington, and Keokuk all play against each other, that was kind of a little round robin in its own because Solon is a team that might end up in the state championship game, and Fort Madison's just rebuilding this year, and so that was game one of what, four between those four schools. So yeah, it was a big one. And Mount Pleasant does have Solon at home for whatever that's worth. And we're going to learn about Solon here in a second. But because you were at the Fairfield Solon game. And yeah, Solon is wagon.
Yeah, it was something. So they beat Fairfield 77-0. Solon did. And it was pretty lopsided as soon as I got there. I was at actually Pekin's game against Van Buren County for their homecoming. So I missed roughly the first two quarters of Fairfield Solon. And yeah, I got there. It was already kind of done by that point. And Solon, it was leading 41-0 by halftime. They won 77-0. Fairfield was down a bunch of players. I could tell their bench was already thin. They had to move the JV game, and they're going to have to do that again actually this Friday for Washington.
Yep, I saw that
because of player availability. So, yeah, it was already a Fairfield team in a pretty rough spot, and Solon is just bigger, faster, stronger, has way more numbers, and they totally dismantled them. It was pretty ugly at times. I'm not going to lie. There was, a couple of tough injuries. One kid, Liam Hunter, had to be stretchered off the field when I was there during the third quarter after he got just pile driven into the ground by some Solon defenders. And yeah, there's not really much X's and O's analysis if I can take away, frankly, Andy, but it was a game. It seemed like a combination of events that were not good for Solon. I will say their coach gave them, some of the young guys, some credit. They had Jackson Hollander and Owen Adam, who's a freshman, step in for Voss Richardson, who was out. They're starting Fairfield starting quarterback. So yeah, it wasn't easy. Zandrick Allison, they also lost him during the game to an injury. So it was a rough one. Solon is really, really good. And I think Fairfield is potentially still really banged up, and certainly was for that game. And that's, that became the story of it, one way or another with how things shook out. But it was pretty ugly at Fairfield, I won't lie.
Yeah, it in any level of football, if you don't have your starting quarterback and best running or running back at least that gets the ball the most, which is Xander Allison, you're going to struggle. In high school, it's multiplied, and then when you're playing against the big dog on the block, it's multiplied by like a million. I did go back and watch the replay of that, and you know what? So Fairfield is already a smaller team now. They both in numbers and just they have athletic kids, but they are a smaller team, and those kids play both ways, which means if one gets hurt, you're losing basically two players in a lot of situations. So just they were a bad matchup for a team like Solon that is just big, just physically big. Sometimes that's what it comes down to, but I think Fairfield will definitely be banged up this week, but I think they'll probably have more healthy players this week, and they could bounce. We've had so I was talking last year. We had a couple of games like this where one of our teams was playing a superstar team. Mount Pleasant had one. I think Fairfield had one where they were playing like Mount Vernon or Solon or someone like that, and they were also injured. And so what ends up happening is you're going shorthanded, and so we've had a couple of games like that. They're ugly, and sometimes the very next week they're right back to where they were because they've had a week to heal, and some kids have had 2 weeks to heal and stuff like that. So That really it puts a little even more intrigue into this Fairfield Washington game, which has been Fairfield Washington the last 3 or 4 years has been electric. We had we've had I think the last 3 years maybe were single digits. I don't know what happened. I can't remember what the final score was last year, but I know that the two teams have absolutely battled the last 3 years. I was there. Um, 3 years ago when Washington came back from like 15 points in the final few minutes to beat Fairfield. And Washington had a similar winning streak against Fairfield they had against Mount Pleasant, and then Fairfield the very next year finally beat Washington, and then the Demons got him back last year. So Highway 1 rivalry. I'm sure it'll be a packed house at Case Field.
Yeah, going to be exciting. That game will be on the Southeast Iowa Video Network. You can watch it. Excited to see what unfolds, because as tough as Fairfield season has been to start, it still feels like, if they can get over this with Solon and some of the demoralization of all of that, it still feels like they could maybe turn things around. They've had some heartbreakers in the non-district, and now they don't have to play anyone better than Solon. Those are all theoretically winnable games. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, given that Solon is obviously projected, and I hope that one of our teams can take them down, but the fact that they're projected to, win the district and probably go undefeated, in the grand scheme of things, if Fairfield bounces back and wins this Friday, they're right back to where they're in the midst of the playoff. And even if they lose, even if Washington beats Fairfield, Fairfield will still be in the playoff hunt, in my opinion. So, yeah, hopefully, but I'm past that. My worry is that now I'll tell you what, when Washington and Mount Pleasant play Solon coming up, get those chin straps a little tighter because there's some big hits. I will say that the skill level between our three big school teams, Fairfield, Mount Pleasant, and Washington, is not a very big gap, but the size level is. So when Mount Pleasant and Washington play against Solon, it'll be a little less, just as far as, the sizes of the team, it'll be a little less drastic. Unless they have a bunch of injuries too, and then it might be the same thing. Small schools, now we're running low on small school games lately because we had teams cancel their season. We've had teams postpone their season. You've got a little information on that, but how many small school games even were there this week, Jack, and who are our big winners?
Yes, there were still some small school games. Like I mentioned, I was at Pekin. They had their homecoming game on Friday, and continued to do Pekin things. They won 52-8 over another small school of ours, Van Buren County. I was there for the entire first quarter. It went up 22-0. It was 3 Nolan Glick touchdowns. He had a 60 and a 57-yard run and finished with 312 yards and 4 on the day. So they continue to do their thing. Also, Henry Adam, maybe the most efficient I've seen as a receiver. As a runner, 105 yards and a touchdown on 2 carries. So, Pekin is doing Pekin stuff. They are still undefeated at 5-0, I think. Now, Mid Prairie also won. They beat West Liberty 56-35. Bit of a heavy scoring game. 6 touchdowns and 306 yards through the air for Brooks Weber at quarterback. But Mid Prairie's gotten back on track since that upset by Alburnett. They've won 3 in a row. And then the other one, so those are 2 high-scoring games, Andy. But who takes the cake for the high-scoring team this week? It's actually Sigourney Keota, who dropped 69 in a Thursday night football game against Louisa Muscatine. So short week, no problem for Sigourney Keota. They also scored 69 points despite only having 2 completions. Ike Molyneux continues to just dominate. Him and Carson O'Rourke each had 2 touchdowns. Sigourney Keota 302 yards on the ground in that game. So they're 2-3. They're bouncing back a little bit. They're going to play Regina Catholic this week, which is going to be tough. They do get them at home, but that'll be an interesting one. Waco lost again to a pretty good Belle Plaine team. So they dropped to 3-2. Cardinal still without a win. They ended up losing to EBF 53-12. And then Winfield Mount Union was not enough of a match for Iowa Valley. Winfield Mount Union 1-4, but they should have some winnable games, I think, coming up in their Class 8 District 5 games. And then Yeah, a few teams obviously not mentioned in there, the main two being New London and Highland. Both of them we have now confirmed have canceled the rest of their seasons. Highland, I've actually gotten word they're going to be switching to 8-man football. There will be a story on that in the paper. It's already on the website if you want to go check that out. But they're going to be playing 8-player football, just kind of JV scrimmage games for the rest of their season. They have a couple on the schedule, but no more varsity football for them. They had canceled their last 3 games and they just went and canceled the other 3. So New London, same thing. They just ran out of players. They only had 16 on their roster to begin with. I know their coach was, it was tough. They, I think we're expecting a little bit more participation and just ended up losing a lot of players. So those two not playing for the rest of the season. I believe that gives Van Buren County a week off because I believe they were expected to play Highland this week, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. They were supposed to play one of the two, so they get a bye week because of that. But yeah, those two schools are now all done with 11-man. Highland, at the very least, is going to play some.
Do you remember, has Van Buren played New London yet? I'm looking it up right now. Does Van Buren have a double bye week coming up now?
It might actually.
Like they might, because there are some teams that haven't played either. By the way, this also affects the standings of Class A. Now it actually clears it up a little bit. The fact that there's that there are games that have now been decided before they're actually supposed to be played. Van Buren County has 3 games left. Two of them were against Highland and New London. They got Wapello on October 10th. So Van Buren County has won 2. They've only lost to Pekin and Danville. I was going to say small school-wise, so Pekin hosts North Mahaska this week, plays at Danville next week. So that turns into 2 big games for them. Basically, if they can win those 2, it's high seed in the playoff time. They still have to go at Columbus at the end of the year. But the math is Pekin's big games are coming up right here. So they've got a backloaded schedule. And then you said Mid Prairie's already back high up in the rankings. We'll have the rankings in the paper this week as well. So our teams and Sigourney Keota, those are all teams that are kind of looking like they're pushing towards a playoff spot. And then in Class 8 players, so Winfield lost to Iowa Valley, but because Waco lost, the team that beat them in the district, now Winfield all of a sudden, despite being 1-4, they kind of control their own destiny if they can win out by enough points because of tiebreaker stuff. So now Waco and Winfield are both kind of bubble teams for the playoffs. So that's where we stand right now with the smallies as far as playoffs.
Indeed. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting finish to the season. We'll see how some of these small schools do. And a little bit of a bummer for VBC. They only technically have 1 game left. So,
yeah, that really is. You knew that somebody had to get the short of the straw where the schedule is like that. And it just happens to be Van Buren with, I guess they can pull all the stops out against Wapello. And luckily, Wapello is Van Buren's homecoming night. Well, they might have moved it because
they did, I believe. I think Columbus, Danville, and Van Buren County have all had to move homecoming as a result of the.
You know what would have been funny is if they would have already played like Powder Puff on like the Tuesday of homecoming, then they had to move it, and there was a rematch a few weeks later.
There you go.
But that's how things stand right now. A little murky, but you can see that we're mathematically we're gonna have a couple of playoff teams. It's just. Got a few more weeks to figure all that out. So, that's what we got for football. That was a long football segment. We come back, probably a little shorter volleyball segment because I know that all the SEC games were 3 sets last night, and we'll let you know how it went. So we'll be back.
Introducing Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every meal is a delight. Start your day with our mouthwatering breakfast options and savor flavorful lunches with friends and family. Cap off your day with our delectable dinners. Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every moment is delicious.
The Connie and Amanda team is dedicated to giving back to our community by actively engaging with our clients, businesses, and the public. When it comes to helping you find your next home, investment, or commercial space, the Connie and Amanda team is here for you.
At WCHC, our goal is to take great care of our patients and our staff.
We are able to approach you, take care of your issues, but also give you a path, as far as referrals or treating you right then and there.
Our role in the community is taking care of something that matters to everyone. It's their family and their health.
More than you expect for your health care.
Hello. Southeast Iowa Prep Sports was powered by Fairway. We had some volleyball this week. We had some SEC volleyball last night, Jack. And a rarity these days in SEC volleyball, we had 3 Southeast Conference volleyball games that were 3-0 sweeps. I'd have to go back and see when the last time that is, because we usually have some more competitive games. Jack, you were at the game that locked up an undefeated regular season, conference-wise, for the Washington Demons. Tell me what you saw in what I'm sure was a very short night at Washington High School.
It was. I was home I was back at the office at 8:30 roughly, and that was kind of quite something. Washington had no problem against Fort Madison. They finished 5-0 in the regular season, excluding the tournament in the SEC. So they'll have the best seed in that. They'll be projected to the de facto championship game, if you will, and they looked really strong. They got out to a 4-0 lead, and then Fort Madison called timeout, and then Washington scored 3 more points and went up 7-0. They got up by 18 points at one point in the second set. And then in the third set, it was actually, they were up 13-11 and ended up winning 25-13. So they outscored Fort Madison 12-2 to close out the match, which was really impressive. Didn't even let them come close ultimately to forcing a fourth set when it looked like they maybe could have done it. It felt like Fort Madison had made some adjustments to start that third. They haven't, the full stats haven't been reported yet, but their net play was just a lot better than Fort Madison's. They were sneaking a lot of kills into the blockers, and then it would kind of drop down and get past them. Still, no one is equal to Leighton Messenger at an outside hitter. We've talked about in the broadcast 5 or 6 times. It's just, I don't know how you even jump to try and block her shots. It just, it's one of those things where it's I don't even know. That's how it was described. Shout out to Zeph Walkerell, my co-commentator, who was it almost sounds like 2 helmets in football hitting each other.
Yeah.
It's just that loud when she hits one of her shots at full strength right into a couple of blockers, and rarely do they get it back over. And so that she was doing her thing. Layla Green had a good match. Reagan Miller had a really good match. She's in really good form. She played well against Burlington, had 30 assists in that 4-setter, and had a bunch of kills last night rather. So they're in good form. They've won 6 in a row. I don't imagine it will be much different, to be honest, at the SEC tournament. I think this team has set the standard, it seems like, in this conference, and it's been very impressive to watch all year. And no problems against Fort Madison last night.
Yeah, they I think the tough schedule at the beginning of the year also plays a factor into that. Now they're rolling. You mentioned you just brought up a memory for me, because Leighton hits this ball so hard that you have to figure out a way to block it and also have it not just fly out of bounds. And there is a speaking of hard ball hitters, there was a girl for Holy Trinity maybe about 10 years ago. Everyone remembered her, if you were around. Her name was Michaela Fecky, and she was an Olympian eventually. She played for Team USA, and she went D1 and all that stuff. And at the time, my wife was coaching at Harmony High School. It doesn't exist anymore, and they played Holy Trinity in the first round of the regional tournament. And a Harmony kid blocked the spike, which she blocked it, and then the ball just landed on Harmony's side for a Holy Trinity point, and all the Harmony kids were jumping up and down, high-fiving each other because she got a hand on it. And I was you're so good that they're celebrating that they even touched it. And Leighton gets into those. They get into certain spots where they just let her loose. Now I will say that a couple of SEC teams are playing pretty good right now, including Fairfield, who will be in that final. We know that Fairfield and Washington won't play this Monday. They'll play the second Monday because they always save the 1 and 2 seed for the very last game. Fairfield dominated Keokuk last night. I should look at the scores before I look at the stats here. I'll just give you the stats first. Leah Helmick led the way with 12 kills. Natalie Steele had 11. Faith Jones again went over 40 assists. They won 25-10, 25-18, 25-12. So now all of a sudden Fairfield, they played that game at Washington, a close, a 4-set loss. And then they kind of started to move along when they beat Burlington in a 5-set thriller. Did the same to Mount Pleasant, and now they took care of business. This last week they've been playing really well, so we'll have to wait for the Fairfield-Washington rematch. But that doesn't mean we're not going to get some marquee matchups in this tournament on Monday because between Fairfield and Burlington have played 5-setters. Mount Pleasant and Fairfield have played 5 sets, and then Washington has they haven't gotten taken to a 5-set. Burlington and Fairfield both made them play 4. But I'll tell you what, I saw Burlington last night in Mount Pleasant, and this is a 3-set. This is not one I expected to be a 3-set game because these 4 teams have been playing longer ones. But it wasn't your typical 3-set game. The first set, Burlington looked awesome. They won 25-14. And then the next 2 sets, Mount Pleasant saw leads falter in the final points. So MP was up 19-18 in the second set. Burlington scored the last 7 points to pull that one out. And then even harsher in the third set, it was 20-16, and Burlington scrapped together and beat Mount Pleasant 25-23. So Burlington's defense just was playing awesome last night. They were scrambling. Like crazy, like I've seen Fairfield and Washington do, where there were balls that looked like easy kills that went off a dig, and then somebody ran 100 yards one way and saved it. And so Burlington is kind of a sneaky volleyball team, in my opinion. It's the one of the 4 that have been looking good that isn't our team because we cover Mount Pleasant, Washington, and Fairfield. But shout out to Lindsey Johnson, former New coach. She's got those guys buzzing. And they do have a little bit of an advantage in that one of the days is at Burlington. So I guess if you're Mount Pleasant, Washington, and Fairfield, you're hoping you don't play Burlington the first time around so you don't have to play them on their own home court. That's what I would be hoping.
I suppose so.
After that.
Yeah, Burlington's the only team that's taken a set off Washington in those last 6 matches that Washington's won. So,
really? They've swept everything except Burlington, and that was at Burlington. Washington's 4-set win. Fairfield battled them pretty good, but I don't know, the SEC tournament. It is a wild one. I can tell you those 2, Fairfield and Washington, have played 2 years ago. The championship was at Washington. Washington was the 1 seed, and they were the 1-2. It was like this, where they were the 1-2, but the second game was at Washington, and Fairfield beat them in Washington, which kind of ruined. That was going to be the big day that Washington won the conference for the first time. And then the very next year, they didn't play. Last year, they didn't play in the final. I think Washington played Burlington in the last match, but they did play Fairfield. No, maybe they did play Fairfield in the last match. Either way, they played him in a 3-set thriller over at Burlington. Maybe was the second day last year, and Washington got that big win finally to celebrate and finally be the conference champions. So if Washington and Fairfield make it to that game without losing, it will be a clash of the Titans. But I've seen too many crazy things happen in that SEC tournament where, sometimes the team like Fort Madison that gets 5th, it's only 3 sets for the SEC tournament. You don't play a full 5. And so stuff can happen. It's different. It's a tournament. And so there's balls flying. There's fans everywhere. You're playing on a different court. And sometimes it only takes a little lapse before you can see an upset. So we'll see. We'll see how our 3 teams can can handle it. It's one of my favorite events. Jack or myself will be there both nights. We guarantee it, as long as we don't get kidnapped or something. And that's it. Oh, and speaking of tournaments, so we had a couple of teams make the Super Conference tournament. Jack, you saw what is looking like our number one, well, not our number one small school team, our number one Super Conference team in Van Buren County. Tell me about they looked pretty darn strong. In fact, won a game in the SEC or SEISC finals this week.
Yes, they did. That's the furthest they've gotten since 2020, when they reached the final. Actually, when their coach was a player on the team, it was really impressive. I went to their pool play portion, which ended up being at West Burlington. They won all 3 matches, including a 3-set winner in West Burlington against the hosts. They won that. Match, and then got to advance to the finals and beat, I believe, Mediapolis in that first round. They did 2-0, and then lost to the eventual winners, which was Holy Trinity, in the semifinals. But did also lose to Wapello in the 3rd place game. But taking 4th, definitely a strong performance. It's pretty impressive. Selena Sarah is their coach's name, and she's young. She's in her 2nd season in charge, and took them back to the final stage, and has them in a really strong direction. They looked really good against West Burlington, so they can definitely be maybe a dark horse now when they go into actual postseason play. But that was an impressive feat for them to do, especially win at West Burlington, to go 3-0 in that pool, which also had Hillcrest, who is a pretty good team this year themselves.
Yeah, by the way, Van Buren is a 2A team, so it's a weirder. They'll be playing in a different grouping, them and Cardinal. So you mentioned they played Mediapolis. That's who they beat in the Super Conference tournament when Selena Sayre was a senior. Yeah. At that point in time, Mediapolis and Van Buren County both had those classes that were like super good athletically. So they played in basketball and in volleyball, and I remember that became quite the rivalry. Actually, I remember that they were so good in volleyball that they went to state, and I remember being there at state, and then the same guy, Matt Zietler, shout out, who coached their volleyball team, coached their basketball team. And I remember Selena Sayre, who coaches the volleyball team, I remember hearing her tell him that there's no way she's playing basketball because she didn't like basketball, and then went to their first basketball game, and there she was in the they made sure everyone could play. So they played Van Buren and Mediapolis had a nice little rivalry, and they played the regional final or semifinal at Washington, I believe, and it was a packed house. There was a regional final because neither of them went to state basketball. But anyway, I saw Winfield Mount Union, which is they went to the tournament. They didn't win in the finals, but they got by with the 2nd place finish at New London. They beat New London. They beat Danville. They beat New London, and even had Holy Trinity, eventual champion Holy Trinity, it was like 17-16 in the first set. And just like the SEC, it was a 3-set, and they were really going back and forth. And more impressive than that is that they recently lost their leading hitter, Kinley Buffington, who led them in kills before she got hurt, and so they're even shorthanded right now. And they were playing good. Ashley Vanghouse, my wife's running buddy, is the coach at Winfield, and this is her first year coaching. And she took the Wolves to the Super Duper Conference Final 8. So that's really cool for Winfield Mount Union. And then here's some news, which we don't have the breaking story on. Let me look at my emails. Let me look at my email, Jack. No, still don't have it, but I'll just tell you. Ashley, here we go. Sorry, low network because I switched my thing. So Ashley Vanghouse took over at Winfield Mount Union for David Peart, who a lot of people know has been Winfield's coach forever. Waco has just recently had their coaches leave for the season, and they had to pull out of the Super Conference tournament. Did we talk about that last week, Jack, that Waco is pulling out of the Super Conference tournament? on the
I
show?
believe we talked about the sites changing, which is why they had to have it at West Burlington, because it was originally supposed to be hosted by Waco, and then you're right, coaches pulled out. They paused the season, which forced them to pull out of that tournament. So a little bit of drama.
It was a quick pause, and it was a quick pause because last night I'm just sitting at my game, and I thought, let me see what's happening over at Waco. Let's see if Waco is playing today. We hadn't heard anything on the coaches. I look up, there's Waco playing. They played 3 games. In fact, went 2-1 last night. So I was on Varsity Band. I clicked and said, well, who's coaching them right now? And what a duo. David Peart, who was just the WMU coach and just kind of retired from that, and is back on the sidelines for Waco. And he has Laney Graber, an assistant, and Waco fans. Laney Graber was a major part of a very good Waco volleyball team that went to the Super Conference Final 8 one year, and I think they won the North, or they got second in the North one year. No, they were in the South. They were in the South because Waco switched to the South for a while. That was when Laney Graber was one of the players. And the South is stacked because they've got Holy Trinity, they've got West Burlington, and Waco had some big years with her as their big blocker down low. So I kind of like the direction with those two. Those are 2 pretty big names to get last second. So they won 3 games last night. Only loss was to another Union area team, Keota, 28-26, 21-19. Wait a minute. Yeah, Keota beats Waco. So now that we've got the Super Conference tournament out of the way, the volleyball, I mean, we'll have the SEC next week. It's getting pretty close to when they put the regional brackets out. And that's when Jack and I will be everywhere covering these volleyball games. So, and I'm sure that we'll have, especially in 1A, we'll have our teams playing against our teams in those games. I promise that they're going to at least make 2 of our teams play against each other. So some nice intrigue there. Yeah. And by the way, New London struggling in volleyball this year, but they took Winfield, played them pretty tough in one of those sets as well. So we're going to go commercial. When we come back, Jack Knowlton was at the Washington cross country meet last night, and then I will have as up to date as you can get for taping this a day ahead of time.
XC, I don't know.
XC, I've got a story for you guys in the break, only for premium subscribers, which is only Jack and Peter, about that. But we'll talk a little tennis as well. So we'll be back.
Attention Hy-Vee shoppers, introducing Hy-Vee Perks, your ticket to exclusive savings and rewards. Access exclusive perks, prices, earn gas discounts, and unlock special deals. All this for free. Join Hy-Vee Perks today and start saving.
At Seafirst Credit Union, we're all about making connections, like how we connect you to that dream vacation with a savings account designed to help get you on the flight there. Connect with Seafirst today and see why together is better.
Hey, you want to see something really scary?
3, chills, and things that go bump in the night. The Russians' House of Terror. Family-friendly Halloween treat. Visit the Midwest Haunted Rail. Unlimited rides on the Ghost Train, trolley, and carousel, blow-ups, and carnival ride, all for one low price. Kids 4 and under free. Scare up some fun at Midwest Haunted Rails, McMillan Park, Mount Pleasant.
In the heart of rural Iowa, where community matters most, the connections we make are made to last. Meet KCTC, your hometown internet, phone, and TV provider. At KCTC, we're not just about technology, we're about people. Our dedicated team are your neighbors, committed to bringing you top-tier services right where you live. We believe in giving back to the community that raised us. Experience the power of a real connection with KCTC. Join us in building a stronger, more connected Southeast Iowa.
Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports, plus a little cross country, a little tennis. My hair's going crazy. Oh, you're doing tennis. I like that I can see you now, by the way. Remember, there were like 2 weeks where I couldn't see you on the show because of the
Peter didn't want us to be able to see. He was sabotaging.
He wanted to go blind.
Not even saying anything. He's not denying it.
Well, you know what? We don't even need to see it because we don't even need to see it because Fairway sees the way for us. So when our eyes are closed, theirs are always open. Shout out to our sponsors. Jack, you were at the cross country meet. You had a busy day. You went the old cross country volleyball doubleheader. You got to see the Washington Demons and the Fairfield Trojans, and I believe were the Waco Warriors there.
They were, along with the Highland Huskies.
The Highland Huskies.
And Kyoto.
The Kyoto Eagles.
Yep.
I had it right.
Yes, I did indeed. And it went very well. Andrew Reese was the headliner. He won the boys' race for Washington. 16:11 was his time. Good result for him for Washington. Obviously, he was pretty excited. I talked to him. I feel bad. I should have given him more time. I talked to him pretty quick after he got done, so he was kind of huffing and puffing through his interview. But shout out to him for giving me a couple of minutes. And yeah, he was very excited. I think he was very excited to win at his home course, and was going pretty head to head with, I have to remember who it was, Jude Dykstra from Waco, who finished 16:26, which it sounds like, I mean, Andrew Reese finished a fair bit ahead of him, but they were neck and neck for most of that race, heading up that final hill where then they turn around and come down there at the Washington golf course and country club. And they were neck and neck. And then all of a sudden, Andrew came over the final crest of the hill and Jude was nowhere in sight. So he kind of lost him in that stretch right before the final stretch, if you will, and ended up winning. So that was very exciting. Team-wise, Fort Madison dominated. They got third and fourth, I believe, overall. I can make sure. Yeah, Riley Tripp got third. Hunter Wiggin got fourth overall. So yeah, it was third and seventh. So yeah, they won the team race over on the boys side, and then the girls side, Fort Madison also won. Marion actually got second. Washington as a team got third. Iris Dahl had the best performance for Washington. She finished second at 19:14. Emma Horick finished 10th, actually. She was in the top 10 as well for Washington. So good race for them. Keokuk, Fairfield, Lone Tree rounded out the girls' result. And then the boys, it was Fort Madison, Waco, Washington, like I mentioned, top three. And then Keokuk, Fairfield, Burlington, Lone Tree, and Highland were ninth.
Hey, shout out to, you said you were talking about that battle between Andrew Reese and G Dykstra. I just wanted to shout out to that is a battle between a waiter and a movie theater popcorn attendant. Both of whom have served me well in the last. We went out to eat and Andrew was our waiter, and then Jude. I saw Jude like 7 times on Saturday because he works for the movie theater, and my wife just kept forgetting her stuff like the keys and then the phone, and so I kept going back. And kids went to see the Gabby Cats movie. Shout out Gabby's Dollhouse. Oh. Girls very love nice. Gabby. So yeah, shout out to those two. They're student athlete workers. And I wanted to look up because mentioned how well Andrew Reese has been running. Currently ranked in the top 20 in 3A. Number 20, he's our top 3A runner, our only ranked 3A runner. There you go. Did you talked about the girls? Talk about the girls?
Yep, Iris Dahl finished second. Talked to her after as well. And Avery Rump from Fort Madison won overall.
Dahl 17th, Rump 11. Now Iris and Avery, Iris Dahl and Avery Rump have both been state place winners in 3A cross country. By the way, Mount Pleasant ran over in up in where was that?
Williamsburg.
Williamsburg. And Mount Pleasant's Avery Fedler has now jumped into the number 2 ranking in Class 3A. She was 3rd behind those Pella girls. She has now passed one of the Pella girls, the defending state champion, Marissa Farabee, who usually runs the course and then goes and gets lunch and then comes back before the second place finisher. Is still number 1. But watch out, you got someone on your heels. We haven't talked about the cross country rankings too much on the show, so I just pulled them up so I could roll through them real quick.
Who is the next highest freshman in that ranking on the girls' side? I'm curious.
Oh, good question. Good question.
If there even is one.
There's one. There's sophomores. 25, a girl from Clear Creek, Amana, Allie Seidel, and there's one more at 27th, a Des Moines Christian girl. But other than that, Avery is way ahead of the other freshmen, and there are a lot of juniors though. Of those top 5, there's a senior, the girl from Pella who's the defending champ is a senior, and then Avery, and then 3 juniors, and then the other top seniors are Avery Rump and Iris Dahl. Number 6 in the girls' rankings for 2A is Brooklyn Stutzman of Mid Prairie. Now Mid Prairie is like the most balanced cross country team you'll ever see. So defending champs right there, got a good chance this year. In a 1A, Jude Dykstra, number 6 right now for Waco. And then we also have Lincoln Bainbridge at number 12. Lincoln Bainbridge of Van Buren County.
Cole Milken, the Fairfield race.
Yep. And then Cole Milken, number 27 for Pekin. 1A girls, Chloe Glosser of Pekin, number 3. I believe she got 3rd at state last year. And Marie Yoder, Hillcrest Academy, number 28. So just a little update because we're getting pretty close to conference race time, pretty close to state qualifier. And that was also an excuse for me to waste just a couple minutes just in case, because I am tracking the girls state tennis tournament, which I'll go into now. We have 4 qualifiers. You know that if you've been reading the paper and watched the show and follow us on Twitter, because we talk about it. So I'm going to talk about, a sad day on Saturday at Fairfield Middle School as Fairfield and Central DeWitt in the team tournament. Both these teams should have been in the state team championship at state, but Eastern Iowa was good at tennis. They ended up playing each other in the regional final instead, and devastating loss for Fairfield, 5-4. Singles went 3-3, lasted 2 hours just for the singles competition. Wow. Fairfield got wins out of Rhea Ross at number 3, Pujita Mukadam at number 1, and Faven Gabriel-Merriam at number 6. And that one ended after everybody else's. So there was a crowd, and that went down to a 10-point tiebreaker. Rhea Ross's also went down to a 10-point tiebreaker, and Natalie Steele fell in a 10-point tiebreaker. So there were three games that went the distance in singles. Then doubles. So it was 2 out of 3 with doubles, and whoever won was going to state. Rhea Ross and Soraya Yamaner, who are currently competing at the doubles tournament at state up in Iowa City, they won, but the other 2 doubles teams fell, which means the team race and the team season for girls tennis is over. Sad stuff there. And I was hoping to waste enough time to where I could tell you what happened in the first round of the state singles and doubles tournament, because as I speak right now in Iowa City, you've got that team, Rhea Ross and Soraya Yamaner at the doubles tournament. You've got Natalie Steele and Pujita Mukadam in the singles tournament. They are playing as we speak right now, as I talk. They're serving, they're returning, they're backhanding. But you're gonna have to wait and read about it in the newspaper because it's still going on. I thought we could waste enough time to where one of those games would be over. I'll tell you what, when you go high quality tennis, Jack knows this. He's a tennis player. Those things
Takes
can
a while.
last a long time. So if anybody's there, I'll be there tomorrow for the day 2 of state. Keep your eyes peeled for next Tuesday's paper, which will have results from that one, along with all the football results, volleyball, all sorts of stuff. And that's pretty much it. You got to stick with us, people. This is going to be a busy week in high school sports. We'll be there. We'll be at some conference volleyball, some maybe state tennis, football, cross country. These two faces, get used to them. Not this hair, though. I might have to go get this cut. You got anything else to say, Jack?
No, thanks to everyone for reading and watching. I'm excited to cover the home stretch here, some of these fall seasons.
Southeast Iowa Union, watch the video network. Jack will be on the call. Fairfield, Washington, the Highway 1 rivalry. It's all coming down at Case Field, and there will be a guy in the booth that you'll listen to. And also watch Mount Pleasant Live, although Mount Pleasant's on the road this week, so no Mount Pleasant Live stream this Friday. But we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Goodbye.
Goodbye.